All right, happy Friday, everybody. So apparently I made you a great video and you couldn't see any of my writing. So this is take two. Today is Friday, 8/21, and we are going to talk today about missing side links. So make sure that you have some paper or a notebook and that you have a pencil to write with. And what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the scale factor and how we can use that to determine missing sides in scale copies. So let's just review what we've done this week. We have learned about scaled copies, and we have learned two things that have to be true for scaled copies. We know that corresponding sides are multiplied by the same or scale factor, and corresponding angles have the same measurement. So make sure that you do that. And then other vocabulary that we've done, we are have corresponding parts, which we know are points or segments or angles that are in the same place on the original and the copy. And then we have the scale factor, which is the number that each length is multiplied by, not added, multiplied by. All right? So hopefully you're seeing my paper this time. Hopefully. Okay, so let me just make sure. Okay, alrighty. So we have this question, and it's what is the scale factor? Now we've done this before, but let's just go through this. Yesterday we talked about we were going to make sure that we set it up like a table. So I've got P and I've got Q, corresponding parts 3, 24, corresponding parts 2 and 16. And we know that we're going to multiply by the same number if they're scaled copies. And we know 3 times 8 is 24 and 2 times 8 is 16. So this number is our scale factor, okay? And these are our dimensions on each of our rectangles here, okay? Now, this time we have figure Q is a scale copy of figure P, and we're going to find the missing length, but we need to do something first. So make sure, let's go ahead and set it up. So I've got P and Q. 5 inches corresponds to 15 inches. 4 inches corresponds to X. Remember, a variable is just a letter that represents any number, okay? So this is the variable X. Now, we need to figure out what X is because it says the missing side length. I don't want to know the scale factor. Oh. Okay, I don't want to know the scale factor. I want to know X here. So let's find the scale factor for this 5 to 15. 5 times what number equals 15? 3. If these are scaled copies, I know that the scale factor going from 4 to X is going to be 3 as well. So 4 times 3, X has to be 12. Okay? All right. So that's how we're going to do that. We're going to find the scale factor first and then use that to find our X or our whatever our missing part is. So this time we have figure HIJKL is a scale copy of ABCDE. Find the missing side. So I've got A sides, and then now this one is missing on the bigger one. So I'm just going to name it A and H. 6 here, 6 corresponds to 15. And this 2 here corresponds to question mark. All right. Again, first thing we're going to do is find the scale factor from 6 to 15. Now, for this one, I cannot multiply 6 by any whole number. I have to use a fraction of some sort. So let's do this. Let's do the inverse operation or divide 15 by 6. And then I'm going to simplify. I know that 15 divides by 3. And I know that 6 divides by 3. So I'm going to say 15 divided by 3 is 5. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 5 halves, 5 over 2. Okay, so let me do the same thing here. Now, multiplying a whole number times a fraction. Remember, any whole number can be represented as a fraction by putting 1 under that number. So I'm going to multiply these fractions. And let's think, how do we multiply fractions? We multiply fractions by multiplying straight across the numerator and the denominator. So I've got 10 here and I've got 2 here. Well, that gives us a whole number, 5. So our question mark or our missing value is 5. Okay? All right, moving on. Now this time we do not have a new figure, but we are going to figure out what it looks like. So it says figure B is a scaled copy of this figure. If the scale factor is 1/2, what are the dimensions of the new figure? So we have an original and we have a copy. And let's write down what we know. We know the dimensions for the original are 2 and 7 inches. It says the scale factor is 1/2. So we know that the scale factor is what we're going to multiply by. So 2 times 1/2 is going to give us 1. Half of 2 is 1. But I don't know what half of 7 is. So what I'm going to do is make 7 into a fraction, put 1 underneath it as the denominator, and multiply by 1/2. 7 times 1, 1 times 2, and I get 7 halves. Now, if you want to make this a whole number, you can divide 7 by 2. 2 goes into 7 3 times, and there's 1/2 left over, so 3.5. So if we were to draw a new figure, we could say 1 for the corresponding side here, and then 7 would correspond to 3.5 inches. Always put your units. All right? Okay. Last one. The second figure is a scaled copy of the first, and now we're going to find the missing side on the original. So I'm going to name this the original and the copy. The original is X. The copy corresponding part is 13. Original is 15. Corresponding is 30. Now let's figure out our scale factor. We can use this set of corresponding parts. 15 times what number is 30? 2. So then some number times 2 equals 13. Just like we did in a previous question, we're going to use the inverse operation. So I'm going to say 13 divided by 2 to get my answer. I can leave that as my answer for X, but that doesn't really give me a good estimate of an actual dimension. So I'm going to create a whole number with a fraction and then a decimal. 2 goes into 13 how many times? I can do 2 times 6 and get 12. So I know it goes 6 whole times, and then there's 1/2 left over. So 6 and 1/2. That gives me a measurement a little bit better than 13 over 2, or 13 halves, okay? So that would be our measurement for X. Now, what I want you to do is I want to show you what you're going to do today. Maybe. Okay, so for today, you're going to find a missing value. And I want you on these boxes to show me your original, your copy, and show me how you're using those corresponding parts and scale factors to figure them out. For this one, make sure that you don't get confused. This 10 feet corresponds to this side. And we know that rectangles have the same measurement on parallel sides. So this 10 feet is going to correspond to X here. Don't forget that. And then for number 3, just make sure that you correspond the right sides together. Again, showing your work. And then the last one, you have a scale factor of 3. You're going to draw the new figure. And when I say units here, I mean squares. So this will be the half of a square. This will be 2.5 squares. What does your new figure look like? Don't forget to label your sides. All right. Hopefully this video works, and I hope you have a great Friday and a great weekend, and I will see you bright and early on Monday.